Degrees at kickoff time. Chris Bahr ready to hit the ball to kick it off for the Los Angeles Raiders. Riddick is back with Williams. Van Williams and Rob Riddick for the Bills. The wind's going to be a factor. It's a swirling wind. Difficult to handicap. The ball is taken 5 yards deep by Van Williams, and he'll not bring it out, so it'll come out to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Joe Ferguson leads the Bills offense onto the field. His super runner catcher Joe Cribbs in the backfield along with Penn Stater Booker Moore. The wide receiver core depleted. Rookie Julius Dawkins from Pittsburgh starts with a veteran Frank Lewis as the wideouts. Mark Bramers the tight end. The offensive line's gotten progressively better with Jones, one of the best tackles in the league, Richard, Grant Borchardt, and Justin Cross. So the Bills with number 12 Joe Ferguson leading the offense, set to go 1st and 10 from their 20. Second back through is Joe Cribbs, and the Raiders, with the 3rd best defense in the National Football League, have given up very little yardage to the run this year. Defensively, the Raiders are big with Howie Long, Reggie Kinlaw, and Lyle Alzado in the front 3. Linebackers especially outstanding. Hendricks, Millen, Nelson, and probably the best player, Rod Martin. The cornerbacks, Lester Hayes and Ted Watts, although we'll see the All-Pro Mike Haynes in uniform today. Mike Davis and Van McElroy are the safeties. There was a gain of just 2 yards on the first carry. Now Van Williams, a sprinter out of the backfield, comes in on 2nd and 8. Van Williams gets the ball and gets a block from Joey Cribbs, and Van Williams is ahead for a gain of about 6 yards out to the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. The last 19 touchdowns the Buffalo Bills have scored have been by passes. They've not scored on the ground in many games. Have only 2 running touchdowns all year, Gene.
5-yard gain. Well, they're going to have their hands full today because they're playing against a very, very good Raider defense. As you mentioned, they're 3rd overall, only giving up an average of 293 yards a game. And Ted Hendricks is having what might be his best year ever, which is amazing considering the fact that he's played for about 13 years.
Hendricks, number 83, the outside linebacker, the white portion of your screen there, up tight on the line of scrimmage. From the shotgun on 3rd and a long 2. Ferguson stands in, has to hurry, looks for a man, and a penalty marker goes down. There might be a hold in the Buffalo backfield.
I think it might be pass interference. I think Bramer, number 86, he had an awful lot of difficulty trying to get away from Mike Davis. You're right. They got him back there for offensive holding.
Buffalo, in the dubious achievement department, leads the league in penalties. That's their 97th of the season and just the 12th game. They got our pregame guest, long-time returner, and he's good as he's ever been. A line drive that's held up somewhat in the wind. Pruitt will bring it back. Runs into his own guy, and then he's swept under at the 37-yard line. Mark Merrill, number 58, made the tackle on special teams for the Bills, and so the Raiders come out on offense. A 39-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Jim Plunkett in his 13th year out of Stanford at quarterback with the former Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen and Kenny King his runners. Cliff Branch and Malcolm Barnwell, super speed on the flanks for the Raiders, with Todd Christensen, the 2nd best catcher in football this year with 59 receptions at tight end. As always, the offensive line of the Raiders broad beamed and strong. Big people in the front wall. No score, 1st and 10 Los Angeles. Marcus Allen tries off tackle, and he is popped in hard. Chris Keating, an inside linebacker, 52, hit him. As we look at the Bills on defense, Ben Williams, a Pro Bowler, so is Fred Smerlas at nose guard, and Ken Johnson in the front 3. The linebackers, Sanford, Keating, Eugene Marv. He's very good. You haven't heard much about him, and Irvin Parker. The cornerbacks, 2 of the best, in Mario Clark and Charles Romes. A rookie, Michael Kennedy's the strong safety, and the veteran Steve Freeman has moved to free safety. Bills have had a lot of injuries in their secondary. Marcus Allen gained 2 yards at 2nd down and 8, Raiders from their 40. Right back to Marcus Allen. This time the great cutback runner from Southern California moves with a burst of speed across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short yardage. The tackle on the play by Fred Smerlas.
6-yard gain. Yeah, the Raiders have always been known for having a big, huge offensive line. There's a shot of the guy who's having a great year, Ted Hendricks. Look at not only sitting on his helmet, but on the football, too. He won't have to worry about keeping his cleats out of the turf today, all right? statement he made about how he's been able to survive so long.
Yep, he says he keeps his head on a swivel, his cleats out of the turf, and he stays away from pileups. See what the Raiders do now. 3rd down and 2. They go to Kenny King, and he makes a burst across the midfield and comes down to the 49-yard line of Buffalo, so the Raiders gather 1st down.
Well, Don, I was just talking about the offensive line of the Raiders and their left tackle, number 79, Bruce Davis. Kenny King is coming to the left side. Bruce Davis is having a Super Bowl season, playing very well. And on that left side at guard is Charlie Hanna, who had to move from tackle to the guard position when Kurt Marsh got injured.
Tom Flores, you saw on the sideline, was a former Buffalo Bill player. He quarterbacked here for 2 seasons. Plunkett looking on 1st and 10. Down the middle, and Cliff Branch was wide open but couldn't make the connection. So Plunkett looks to catch the Bills in a run defense and had a wide open receiver, but it's going to be 2nd down and 10. Let's take a look again from the end zone.
Well, Cliff Branch is the fellow that the Raiders really want to go to because of his speed. He's so dangerous. He gets into the middle. You see what happened? He thought that the ball was going to be deflected. Number 52, the linebacker, was right in there. And he thought the ball was going to be deflected. It didn't, and it just came right through his hands. But you have to play out like a catcher plays a foul tip. Be ready for it all the time.
See what Plunkett does now. It's 2nd down and 10 with no score in the 1st quarter. He doesn't like to run. Got Branch. And Cliff Branch, quick as he ever was, and he's in his 12th year now from Colorado, has something to say to the defenders as he gains 14 yards, and the Raiders are starting to challenge now. They're down to the Buffalo 33-yard line.
Notice how Jim Plunkett is always looking downfield. You know, even when he starts to get in trouble, he always looks downfield for a receiver. Cliff Branch using his experience, getting in between the zones there, coming up with the reception. Charlie Romes, number 26, on the tackle.
Raiders have a lot of firepower. They're the highest scoring team in the American Conference, even though they fumbled the ball away 20 times. Fred Smirlis was about 4 snap counts early. We'll see if he was drawn off. Just came early, so it'll cost the Bills 5.
You know, when you're playing that nose tackle position, you get a little over anxious sometimes because everybody's trying to zero in on you. Fred Smirlis is one of the best in the league. He's a big, strong guy.
Encroachment, number 76, defense, 1st down.
Smirlis has been to the Pro Bowl 3 straight years. There's the head coach on the left, Kay Stevenson. His line coach, Don Lawrence. Stevenson's done a great job here. He moved up from an assistant's role and has really tied this team together. They have an excellent attitude, displayed an ability to come back. On 1st down and 5, Marcus Allen runs the ball to the 25-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short of a 1st down. The Bills will be keying on the football because the Raiders have been coughing it up.
The Raiders have turned the football over an incredible number of times. As a matter of fact, on offense, they've lost. They've had 15 interceptions. They've lost 5 fumbles. You know, in that one lost area. Oh, the Raiders have lost 20 fumbles. I was looking at the Bills there. They're minus 39 in turnovers on offense alone.
Right now they have 2nd and 2. Frank Hawkins runs the ball, and he might have just gotten there. Yards coming tough as Eugene Maher, 54, is starting up. Frank Hawkins was a great runner, one of the NCAA all-time leaders at Nevada at Reno. Not tall, 5'9", but he's powerful at 210 pounds. He's really the closest thing they have to a fullback.
Well, there's no love lost between these two teams at all.
Now we will check the measurement as the Raiders drive down the field with 9 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the 1st quarter. There still is no score. Don Criqui with Gene Washington at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. First score of the day is in. The Steelers are rolling with a 9-2 record. Move out in front of Minnesota 7-0 on a Stout to Cunningham touchdown pass. Things mix up a little now. You see Eugene Marv.
You know, this rivalry goes back a long time, back to old War Memorial Stadium, AFL days.
23rd meeting over the years. The Raiders dominant over virtually every team in the NFL over the years, but not Buffalo. They split 22 games. Here's a loop pass over the middle to Marcus Allen. He's ahead for yet another Raider 1st down to the 11-yard line. So the Raiders, after getting a Buffalo punt for their first possession, displaying an excellent array of offense coming down. Cincinnati starting to move up on a Ken Anderson pass. Goes in front. 7-0. It's 1st and 10 Raiders. The handoff to Marcus Allen, and he gets stuck at the 11. Bills linebackers fill Eugene Bahr from Saginaw Valley in his second year. A big backer on the inside. The Bills have activated one of their best players.
Buffalo here is to stop Cliff Branch, number 21. He's not open. Look for Marcus Allen. They love to throw to him in the corner.
To the run to Marcus Allen. Some open field, and he's inside the 5, and he almost went in. Knocked out inside perhaps the 1-yard line. Charles Romes, the cornerback, got him. Allen was the 10th player selected in the draft after he won the Heisman Trophy. People wondered if he was fast enough. He is.
But, you know, Marcus plays with such confidence, and he did so well winning the Heisman Trophy out at USC. He came into the league. Of course, he had a lot of talent, but he has an air about him. You know, the same thing that O.J. had. He gets his other players around him to even feel more confident. And he gets along so well with the other guys. You know, he doesn't have a big head, so everyone really wants to put out that extra effort for Marcus.
Short of the goal line and short of the first down marker. So big down coming up now as the Raiders have the ball just outside the Buffalo 1. The great big guy there is Art Shell, smiling, one of the greatest tackles in the history of this league. I asked Art about the Raider attitude. They bring in so many supposed renegades and bad actors. He said guys come in here and they look around, check everybody else out, and say, hey, I'm not so bad after all.
Fit right in.
Fit right in.
Lyle Elizondo, I think, is the best example.
Raiders have a number of people like their leading pass catcher, Todd Christensen, who was a number 2 draft choice of the Cowboys and was waived by Dallas. He came in as a running back, opposed the move of Coach Landry to put him at tight end. Off he went, and he went with the Giants briefly, and the Raiders got him as a free agent. Now he's a Pro Bowl tight end for $100. 3rd and inches for a first down. 3rd and a yard and a half for a touchdown. The Raiders go on the board as Frank Hawkins rockets into the end zone. So the highest scoring offense in the American Conference, hitting on all 8 on their first possession with 7:50 to play in the first quarter. The Raiders, with a very diverse offense, take it in on the payoff end. It's Frank Hawkins.
Watch the block by Marcus Allen, number 32. He was the man that allowed Hawkins to score. Good block on number 21, Michael Kennedy. As you mentioned, Hawkins isn't very tall, but he's a strong guy, very solid, 210 pounds. When they get down close, they like to give him the football.
And the blocking you mentioned, Gene, of Marcus Allen, that was a bonus. They didn't realize what a great blocker he was because he never did in college. He ran it all the time. Chris Bahr's extra point is up and through. And so the Raiders, a favorite coming in, although they've not had much success over the years in Buffalo, take a 7-0 lead on this. Frank Hawkins touchdown run. We'll be back at Rich Stadium with the Raider kickoff after this. Ready to get Chris Bahr into the football with Van Williams and Rob Riddick back. And again, Bahr's kickoff is too deep to return, and so the Bills take it out on a touchback to their 20.
This takes Ferguson a little bit to get going, and he's got a tremendous weapon in Joe Cribbs at running back, so they can hurt you a lot of ways.
Joe Cribbs gets the ball, and the Raiders don't give him a thing. Reggie Kinlaw, the middle guard from Oklahoma, fending off the block of Will Grant, making the head-on hit, and there was no gain on the play, so it's going to be 2nd down and 10. And Justin Cross, the right tackle for the Bills, is down. So now over the Buffalo Bills. Bills have the ball 2nd down and 10 at their 20 as Justin Cross, the right tackle, goes off with an injured leg. And Tom Lynch goes in the game to replace him. He'll be the 3rd man now at right tackle for the Bills. One of their best players, Joe Devlin, went out in the preseason with an ankle fracture. Lynn Dickey just threw to John Jefferson for 6 yards and a touchdown. And the Green Bay Packers lead Detroit 7-0. Tony Hunter, the Bills' top draft choice, is now in, down the lower portion of your screen. He's running a long pattern. They're going to him, but there's too much on the ball. So the Bills now have 3rd down and 10 coming up. Ferguson has a history of, if he starts hot, he stays hot. This year, as unlike in the past, he's found games where he's had poor first half, and he's come back and played great in the second half like he did last week against the Jets.
You talk about playing well when he's hot. In the Bills' seven wins, Ferguson has thrown 21 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And their 4 losses, 1 touchdown and 11 interceptions.
3rd and 10. They're going to go to the throw again as Ferguson setting the shotgun with 4 wide receivers deployed. There's the throw, and tackle was made on Frank Lewis. A good defensive play by the Raiders. The knockdown made short of the sticks, and so there is no first down. Jim Davis coming in as an extra defensive back, number 45, makes the play on Frank Lewis.
Well, the Raiders are
yards in 11 plays with Frank Hawkins on the payoff end to take a 7-0 lead. 6:26 to play in the first quarter.
Again, the Raiders are going to get the football in good field position.
Greg Pruitt is back. Knuckleball hit downfield. Takes a Buffalo hop. It's down inside the 45-yard line. The Raiders do indeed, Gene, get very good field position, as Cater did not hit the ball well, and the Raiders are beneficiaries of that. So we'll be back with Los Angeles on offense right after this. As the Raiders leading 7-0. Now have the ball 1st and 10 inside their 45-yard line. Plunkett wants to get a lot. Swings it out. Marcus Allen as the defense closes in, and Allen is out to the 48-yard line. A gain of about 4. Irvin Parker, one of the outside linebackers, knocked him down. Allen not only runs well, but he catches a lot of balls.
Coming into today's game, he had 47 for 412 yards. This play is designed that way. You saw Marcus look downfield to see where the linebacker was. When you have a back like this, you want to get him the football out in the flat and try to get him in a one-on-one situation. The Bills do the same thing with Cribbs. They both have excellent receivers. You get them out in that field one-on-one, and usually they're going to win.
The other player the Raiders go to a lot is the tight end Christensen. He hasn't had a ball thrown to him yet, but he will many times. Buffalo holding him at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 6, and dancing for a first down and more is Kenny King as he's down to the 35-yard line. So Kenny King of the Raiders gets some room and makes some more for himself and moves 15 yards upfield, and finally he's knocked down at the Buffalo 35-yard line. Chris Keating, a linebacker, got him.
When you have Marcus Allen in the backfield, sometimes everyone else is forgotten, but Kenny King, number 33, has outstanding speed. He was a Pro Bowler in 1980. Look at him. He just burst through there. When he breaks free, no one's going to catch him from behind.
Justin Cross, the Bills tackler, went out, will not be back. Has an injured left ankle. 1st and 10 for the Raiders, who lead 7-0 in the first quarter. Marcus Allen to the 33-yard line. Lucius Sanford knocks him down. As again we look at the scoreboard, the 1 o'clock game. Cincinnati leads Houston now 7-3. 2nd down and 7 for the Raiders at the Bills 31. Second back is Marcus Allen. Fumble, ball, Raiders have it. They got 3 more yards. So the Raiders, who are one of the fumblingest teams in football, cough it up and are beneficiaries when the big tackle Bruce Davis falls on the ball.
Well, Don, as you mentioned before, the Raiders come into today's game having fumbled the ball 20 times. This is their 21st time. You know, uncharacteristically of a good football team, the Raiders are -16. Now they're, coming into today's game, -16 in the turnover ratio. Usually a team who's playing well will always be in the plus column. You have to give a lot of credit to the Raiders defense because, they're enable them to stay on top when they have all of those turnovers on offense.
That is really rare for a winning team to be down in the turnover count. And now Frank Hawkins is held up at the line of scrimmage on 3rd down and a yard. He didn't get there. Had to get inside the 25-yard line and did not, so the Bills defense holds on 3rd down. Bahr will be coming in probably to try a field goal with the wind at his back. First we'll see where the ball is spotted. It is going to be short of where the first down was, though. Where the marker is. Fred Smirlis was on the tackle along with Eugene Marv. Don Hasselbeck, another tight end, is in with Todd Christensen. 3 tight ends in the game. 4th down and inches from just short of the Bills' 25-yard line. They have to go only a foot to get another first down. Hawkins is ahead, and the Raiders have a first down to the 24-yard line. Eugene Marv and Ken Johnson on the tackle, but the Raiders get ahead for a first down.
Again, they go to their strength. They're going to run behind number 79, Bruce Davis, the left tackle. He opens the hole. Hawkins picks up the first down. I should mention, Don, on the right side, the right tackle, Henry Lawrence, is an outstanding blocker, but he's playing with a very sore arch, and he has been for the last couple of weeks. So when the Raiders need some tough yardage, they're probably going to favor Bruce Davis on the left side.
They did that time, went left, and now it is 1st and 10. Plunkett throws, and he has a wide open receiver. Malcolm Barnwell is there to receive the ball. And while we have a moment, we're going to switch to Seattle last week. That helped the Raiders a lot, enabled the Raiders with their victory over Denver to take a 2-game lead in the AFC West. Now the Raiders have it 2nd down and 2, and they go to the run. And Hawkins is very close to a first down at the Buffalo 14-yard line. Chris Keating, one of the inside linebackers, filling again. Might be close enough for the first down. Raiders have totally dominated time of possession. They've had the ball all game long. The first time they went 62 yards in 11 plays. Scored on a Frank Hawkins run from in close. Jim Plunkett's been at this a long time. He knows the emotional roller coaster of being a football hero. From the Heisman Trophy to the waiver wire back to the MVP of the Super Bowl.
You know, I call Jim the Phoenix. He just keeps rising from the ashes. We go way back.
You were roommates, weren't you?
We were roommates at Stanford. Plunkett's first game at Stanford, I've been a fan ever since then. He threw me 3 touchdowns. He keeps reminding me. He says, you know, I made you an All-American.
They wanted to throw you some on the sidelines today when we were rehearsing. The Plunk, 35 years old, 13 years in the league. He was the #1 draft choice in '71 of the New England Patriots. Traded to the 49ers, who subsequently waived him onto the Raiders, and as they say, the rest is history as he took him to the Super Bowl championship in '80. The Raiders on 3rd and inches get ahead, but there is a penalty marker down in the Los Angeles backfield, and the preliminary signals against the Raiders. So it'll come back.
Field and has a beautiful touch on the football. He knows when to lighten up, and he knows when to fire it in there.
The Raiders have that throw deep philosophy, as Stabler used to say. When things are going bad, throw deep. When they're going good, throw deep. The Raider philosophy to stretch the defense. Now another marker down, and we have people kicking at each other at the line of scrimmage again. And now we have people teeing off.
Chris Keating is fired up for number 52. Important to let him know, hey, we're going to play too.
Right now, the Raiders are doing the playing as they're driving again late in the first quarter, leading 7-0. Plunkett hands off, and Marcus Allen with a change of pace move again moves ahead for a first down inside the Buffalo 15-yard line. The Raider offensive front has been too strong for the Buffalo defensive front 3. The Raiders have been winning at the line of scrimmage, and they're moving the ball down close again. Coaching the team to the championship in '80.
You know, one of the things about the Raiders is the fact that they have so much continuity. You know, you mentioned that Tom Flores played for the Raiders, is now the head coach. But, you know, Willie Brown, great defensive back.
1 second left, so the Raiders will run the clock out before they snap the ball. Now they're bringing him back down, so they're going to come back down and finish out the first quarter at this end of the field. Wasted trip. Raider domination in the numbers. 102 total yards to 16 for Buffalo. Plunkett on 1st and 10 all day long. Goes down to the sideline, and Malcolm Barnwell catches the ball inside the 10. He'll be very close to another Raider first down.
That was an outstanding catch by Malcolm Barnwell. Plunkett wanted to throw the ball to Cliff Branch, who was coming from the left side of the field all the way over. You can see him watching Branch in the middle. He's not open. And Barnwell does a good job of positioning himself between the ball and the defensive back. And it's like in basketball, when you're going to get a rebound, get yourself in between the other guy and the ball. Very important that he caught the ball in his chest, so as soon as he was hit, he didn't turn it loose.
Malcolm Barnwell's from Virginia Union in his 3rd year. Very fast. And now the Raiders go to the run, and Marcus Allen heads toward the end zone and gets inside the 5-yard line and down to the 3. Chris Keating makes the tackle, but the Raiders challenging again with a 7-0 lead. They have another first down now. Are they going to be close enough to measure? The LA offense versus the Buffalo defense. You see an overmatch, but I think Kay Stevenson probably said it best, Gene. He said, they talk about our rushing defense and our passing defense. We're not worried about statistics. We're 7-4.
And tied for first place. You know, Buffalo has that kind of a defense that bends, but they don't break very often.
Last week, the Bills were down 14-0 to the Jets at Shea Stadium in New York, a team that had beaten the Bills 31-10 earlier. Buffalo came back to win free football. And Marcus Allen was not across the plane of the goal line before he coughed it up for a second time. But this time, it is the Bills who recover, and the Raider drive is stopped. Steve Freeman, number 22, the free safety. So the Raiders are down close, looking to take command, but a lost ball in the end zone, and the Bills stop the drive. Buffalo, 1st and 10 from their 20. Second quarter, Raiders lead at 7-0. Ferguson wants to get a lot early. He fires downfield, and it's a little too wide. Going for the ball was Julius Dawkins, who was an All-American as a junior at Pittsburgh and didn't go to the 12th round when he came out. The Bills think he has the potential to be a tremendous player.
You know, one of the reasons he was drafted so low is that in his senior year he had an injury in his foot, and when he came into the Bills training camp they noticed that something was wrong. He wasn't running properly, and he didn't want to tell them, but he had a bone chip in his foot. They took it out. Now he's really starting to come on. He's a big guy, over 6 feet, about 195 pounds.
Second down and 10 for Buffalo. To the run, straight ahead. There's not much there against the Raiders. Van Williams carries the ball. The real knock on Julius Dawkins, to be perfectly honest, was that he had a bad attitude and was a big part of the Pittsburgh collapse in their pick to be national champions. He came in here, though, and they haven't seen any bad attitude, just a good football player. Mike Mosley on the left, and Phil Villapiano, 2 injured Bills. Villapiano, a former then Oakland Raider. They both went down with knee injuries, although Mosley, a good young wide receiver from Texas A&M, could be back. The Bills go to the playoffs. It is now 3rd down and a long 5 for Buffalo. Ferguson stands in. They give him some time. He's got a man, and he's going to get knocked down way short of the first down as Joe Cribbs came out of the backfield. Raider defense playing as well as the offense. Buffalo unable to generate any consistency. And so the Bills will have to punt it back to the Raiders again. This time Cater will be working with the wind at his back.
It's tough to beat that nickel defense that the Raiders go into when they get you in an obvious passing situation. They take out a linebacker and they'll bring in a safety like Otis McKinney. Joe Cribbs can be very effective against linebackers, but he's got a much tougher time trying to operate against a skilled defensive back.
Greg Pruitt is back as a single receiver to return the punt for the Raiders. Cater standing at his 11-yard line. Penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. And here comes Pruitt. At the picket line right. Pruitt uses it and gets to the 38-yard line. But there were penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. So the clock is stopped with 11 minutes and 45 seconds to go first half.
54 on the kicking team. Penalty decline. First down.
Eugene Marv was in motion early, but the Raiders like the field position they got in the play, so they'll take the kick and they'll go on offense when we come back. Seconds to play in the first half. The Raiders have the ball at the 43-yard line, their own. They lead the game 7-0, and Jim Plunkett's at the controls. Takes the swing to Allen, goes the other way, and gets it to Kenny King. And Eugene Marv, it's a big defensive play for the Bills. A lot of open track. Had Kenny King been able to beat Eugene Marv.
You know, Don, Todd Christensen came into today's game the number 2 receiver in the league with 59 catches. Watch him on this play. It's an option play. It's a screen. Look at him. He's wide open. He's looking for the football, but Plunkett has the option. He's the screen first. If the screen's not there, then he can throw down the middle to his tight end.
It is 2nd down and 9 where they have the ball spotted. 38-yard line of the Raiders. Plunk takes a look, finds Marcus Allen, and he's out to the 44-5-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. Ken Johnson, 91, made the knockdown. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited.
You know, Don, Marcus, 2 fumbles in this game, but you know what's characteristic of a player like Marcus is that he'll forget about that and he'll come back and make a big play, and so will everyone else.
That's the history of the Raiders. Right now they have a 3rd down and about 3. Long ball. Malcolm Barnwell covered very well by Mario Clark. So the Bills defense holds and gets a standing salute from a good part of the 70,000 fans here in Buffalo. Raiders moved up and down the field their first 2 possessions. First time they went 62 yards to a touchdown. Next time they were right down on the goal line. But Marcus Allen fumbled into the end zone, so the drive was stopped. Now Ray Guy is in to punt for the first time. And he'll be kicking into a wind that's getting stronger. The wind in late November starts to sweep on in from Canada. Rob Riddick back to return the punt for Buffalo.
Ray Guy is finally free of those back problems that bothered him for the last couple of seasons. Punting very well now.
End over end punt. It'll be returned. Riddick from the 20. Looks for blockers. Loses one man. There's a great special teams play by the Raiders. And Barnes comes down and makes the play. 56, Jeff Barnes. And so the Bills go on offense, but the Raiders have the lead 7-0. Previously in this half have ended after 3 downs with a punt. Not very much offense as the Raiders lead the game 7-0 in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the Bills from their 20. Ferguson with a strike. Out to the 27-yard line, a gain of 7. Joe Cribbs caught the ball, and Bob Nelson, an inside linebacker and a former Buffalo Bill, made the stop for the Raiders.
Well, it appears as though the Bills are not going to be successful running the ball, at least at this point against the Raiders. So what they're going to do is put it in the air. And Joe Cribbs, you can see what he did. He protected the ball. As soon as he caught the ball, saw the defender coming, Bob Nelson, number 51. He protected it and put it away. There's a Raider defense to the 3rd overall total defense, 5th against the rush, 7th against the pass.
Now the Bills with a 2nd down and 2 play coming up. They try the run. Roosevelt leaks. A big back from Texas gets ahead, and the Bills have their first down of the day. Buffalo moving the ball out to the 32-yard line. Minutes to play in the first half. The Raiders went 62 yards on 11 plays the first time they had the ball after the Bills punted to them. And now some more scores coming in. Miami with the 7-0 lead over Baltimore. Andre Franklin with a touchdown run. St. Louis on an O'Donohue field goal has extended its lead over San Diego 10-0. The Chargers and the Raiders play twice more. Green Bay is the leader 7-3 over Detroit. Raiders 4 games remaining after this one, all against teams under 500. On 1st and 10, there's nothing there for Roosevelt leaks. And penalty markers are down at the line of scrimmage. Howie Long, number 75, emerging as one of the best defensive linemen in the league out of Villanova, was on the tackle.
Howie Long is Lyle's protege, but I think it's going to be offsides against Howie. He saw something. He moved down from his position where he was lined up, and you saw him just shoot through that gap. But he broke that plane a little too soon.
Offside, number 75, defense, 1st down.
Watch him slide down. Watch, he sees something. He's going to shoot between the gap. And he guessed right because he caught the running back for no gain at all, but a little too quick, Howie.
Best down in yardage now coming up that Ferguson's had this game. 1st and 5 to Joe Cribbs to the run. And the Raiders again don't give him a thing. Those big defensive linemen just shutting down the Buffalo running game. A ring from the Lone Star State, worn by Mike Mosley, one of the fastest players in the NFL when his leg is well. Giants now out in front 10-0 over Philadelphia as Butch Woolfolk has scored an 11-yard touchdown run. Cincinnati has opened up a 17-3 lead over Houston. Jim Breach with a field goal. Anderson's thrown for 2 touchdowns. The Bears in a Matsui run lead Tampa Bay 7-0. 2nd down and 3. Joe Cribbs tries again. Raiders going after the football. I think the play was whistled dead. And it's going to be 3rd and short now while we have a moment. Back to the Patriots. We've seen them, Gene. They're a good-looking football team. The Browns with a 10-0 early lead. 3rd down and less than 2 yards for Buffalo. First back through is Roosevelt Weeks. He's got it. Alzado tackled him, but the Bills go point to point with a straight line offense and get the ball out to the 43-yard line.
You know, the Bills need to generate some momentum, and the best way to do that is to try to, get a few first downs. They need to get a little more confidence in their offensive unit. Their offense is sitting on the sideline, and they're watching the Raiders move up and down the field. They need to get that flow going, and that first down was really critical, and they gave it to the guy who they always do in short yardage. That's Roosevelt Leaks.
Now 2 new wide receivers in the game, Byron Franklin and Julius Dawkins. A lot of speed. 1st and 10 Buffalo. Ferguson takes a look. He's got a lot of room to run. Open field inside the 45, and he uses the 12th man to bail out. Saved by the sideline. He has a Bills first down, a run of 17 yards. Ferguson, you see that left arm very heavily padded. He extended an elbow against the Jets.
Joe has very good speed for a quarterback, and I was talking to the Raiders defensive back coach Willie Brown last night, and he said one thing that Ferguson can do is hurt you when he runs the football. He's a good athlete. He gets outside, sees a defender, sees Lester Hayes coming, says, I'll get out of bounds, take my first down. Now they have that thing going. Now they're more confident down in the huddle. That's really important.
For the first time in the game, the Bills offense is moving the ball against the Raider defense. Raiders lead in the second quarter, 7-0, 6:14 to play in the half. Again, Raider left early as Joe Cribbs tries upfield on a free play. Penalty markers down at both sides of the line. Now another penalty marker comes in from the secondary. Lester Hayes and Byron Franklin were pushing at each other.
Well, that's going to be a...
Just like they like it.
Well, Lyle Alzado, number 77, was the man who got it started, and that's going to be a personal foul against the Raiders.
Bills will take the big one, the personal foul.
It's called against Mike Davis, I think. There's number 48. That's Roosevelt Leaks, and he's blocking on the strong safety, Mike Davis. Oh, did you see that right cross? That's not enough.
Mike Davis delivering the forearm shiver to the head of Roosevelt Leaks. And
defense decline. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 36. Defense accepted. First down.
No less an authority than Dan Shula, the coach of the Dolphins, has always maintained that nothing turns a game like a goal line stand. Completely swings momentum, and in effect the Bills had a goal line stand when they stopped Marcus Allen, forcing him to fumble into their end zone when it looked like the Raiders were ready to go up 14-0. And it was after that and this drive that the Bills have started to move. They have their best penetration of the Raider end, down to the 23 with a first down. 7-0 Los Angeles. Second quarter as Roosevelt Leaks gets one or two.
Well, there's a little more action going on. Matt Millen, that big inside linebacker for the Raiders, says, let me get in on something.
He's a good player, 55. Big Matt Millen from Penn State was out a couple of games. Other Raiders said we didn't realize just how good he was till he was out.
Those two guys in the middle, Bob Nelson and Matt Millen, both really big and strong. They can really shut it down in there. They're not the best pass coverers in the world, but against the run, they're awfully tough.
Right now, the Bills second down and 8 at the Raider 22-yard line.
They love to throw down here.
That's what they're going to do. Here comes Long, and they get Ferguson back outside the 30. Free ball, but it was after the play was whistled. Right now, Ferguson isn't getting up.
Howie Long just killed Tom Lynch. Tom Lynch, who normally plays guard, had to move into the right tackle position. You can see Ferguson down. Probably got the wind knocked out of him. Howie Long just flew in there, coming up with a big sack. We'll be back.
2-yard line of the Raiders. They lead the game, Los Angeles, 7-0. Matt Kofor hasn't had much playing time. He's got a great arm and a lot of ability, and he'll go from the shotgun. Tough to come in and start throwing, but he has to. His first one's a completion to Julius Dawkins, but very little gain on a 3rd and 18 play. They got only about 3 yards. Otis McKinney, an extra defensive back, knocked him down. Ferguson's had a problem earlier in the season. He was knocked out of a game against the Jets.
Well, the Bills are going to go for the field goal attempt. Number 18, Joe Danello, is coming to the game. Very critical at this point for the Bills to get some points on the board. They can come away here with 3 points. Then psychologically they feel that they've accomplished something. They took the ball away from the Raiders, have moved downfield, and they really need to get some points.
Need them badly, trailing 7-0. Danello's 7 for 10 inside the 49-yard line. 47-yarder on the way. It's going to be long enough. It's good. So the Bills bring 70,000 to their feet. As Joe Danello hits a 47-yard field goal, and Buffalo's on the board, trailing the Raiders 7-3. Back with the Buffalo kickoff right after this. Now here's the kick return by Clee Montgomery, a sprinter, and he's cut down as he crosses the 20-yard line and gets out to the 24. So the Raiders leading 7-3, going offense again. Mark Merrill again making the tackle on special teams for the Buffalo Bills with 3:55 to play. First half, the Raiders scored the first time they had possession today, went 62 yards in 11 plays with Frank Hawkins scoring from in close, and then they drove down on their next possession and looked like they were going in again, but Marcus Allen fumbled the ball into the Buffalo end zone. The Bills stopped that drive with a recovery, then came the other way and kicked a 47-yard field goal off the foot of Joe Danello. The Bills on the board for the first time. It's a 7-3 game. The Raiders come in as a slight favorite, but playing in the East with the wind kicking up gives Buffalo a big advantage, particularly when Ferguson, he's probably as good a wind quarterback as there is. He can really gun it through the wind with that quick, tight spiral he throws. Going wide is Kenny King, and he gets stuffed. So the Bills quarterback went down, and the defense responds with some fiery football.
Number 21, the strong safety, Michael Kennedy, was the man who came up and forced the play. He's a player who loves a hit, had a great game last week, 11 tackles alone.
Miami continues to lead Baltimore 10-0. St. Louis opening up a blowout of San Diego 24-0 now. The Cardinals over the Chargers. It's 2nd down and 12 for the Raiders. Plunkett looking deep. He's looking at Malcolm Barnwell. Now goes over the middle, and Christensen has his first catch. And it's good for a gain of about 9 yards as Joe Ferguson goes to the Bills locker room.
The Bills had a blitz on. As a matter of fact, they had a safety blitz. 21 Michael Kennedy was blitzing, but the Raiders provided Plunkett with the time, and they got the reception to Todd Christensen.
Been a lot of scoring around the league early today. At halftime, we'll be going to Len Berman and the crew at NFL 83, updating the action with the big plays. With right now, the Raiders have 2:45 to work with in the first half. It's 3rd down and 3. Plunkett looking deep. Malcolm Barnwell's out there, and a great breakup by Mario Clark. Clark was out with knee surgery, that arthroscopic surgery. He's come back now, and he had a spectacular game on his return against the Jets. Has made 2 big breakups today. And the Raiders have to punt, and the Bills will be working with 2.5 minutes in the wind at their back. Rob Riddick goes back.
Well, the Bills are certainly happy to have Mario Clark back in that backfield because Dave Kilson had to play for him, and they just worked him over for a couple of weeks. And Mario's very smart. You notice he came in, knocked the ball away with one hand, but just in case he missed it, he had his backhand on Barnwell just to make sure, and that's why Barnwell was complaining. He said he had his hand on me, but no foul.
Only if you get caught, and so it'll be a punt for Ray Guy, and the Raiders hits it from his 22, unloads into the ball, but into a wind. The penalty markers down as Riddick fumbles the ball, and the Raiders have the football. The Raiders come up with the ball. Tony Caldwell, number 57. Now we have to wait for the all-important ruling on the penalty. Did a Raider leave early? .224 to play in the first half.
Holding, receiving team, penalty is declined, 1st down.
So the Raiders get a turnover now and have great field position.
Took his eye off the ball just a little too soon. Wanted to see where he was going to run. You have to watch it all the way into your hands. It's just like a receiver catching a pass. Watch the ball all the way into your hands. He looked away just too soon to see where the defenders were coming from.
Interesting second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is David Stern. Our director Richard Klein, as we are down to 2:24 left to play in the first half. The Raiders with a 7-3 lead get a big break, but they've coughed the ball up into the Bills end zone when they had it at the 1-yard line. Now the Raiders with plenty of time to take it in if they can with the ball. 1st and 10 at the Bills 27-yard line. Buffalo quarterback Joe Ferguson's gone out. He was KO'd on a sack by the Raiders. Will not play again this half. Perhaps not for the rest of the game. We'll wait for more update on that. Handoff. Marcus Allen almost broke free. He gets away, and a penalty marker goes down. Big play by Smerlis, the middle guard, number 76, who tripped him up.
Holding against the Raiders.
Ten-yard mark off. The Raiders will be kicking into a wind if they go to the field goal. They're kick.
He pinned Smerlis. 10 points.
That's tough to do. Smerlis was a championship wrestler at Boston College.
There's a blitz.
Marcus Allen pays the price as he gets down to the 30-yard line. And the game clock will wind down to 2 minutes. Plunkett and the Raiders have dominated on offense in the first half, but they have only a 7-3 lead. Now the 2-minute warning is given. So a free timeout for each team, and Plunkett goes to the sideline for some counsel, and we'll be back after this. The Bills on offense now, or on defense, as Jim Plunkett sets in and looks on 2nd and 12 and goes to Cliff Branch. Down to the 22.
Well, the Bills are playing their conservative defense.
Brings up a second now, 3rd down and 7 as Plunkett takes a look, running for his life, guns it. Incomplete inside the 10-yard line as Christensen was well covered. Michael Kennedy, that young strong safety you're talking about, Gene, out of Toledo, a free agent, had the big 11 tackle game against the Jets, has been doing a big job holding Christensen down to 1 catch for not much yardage.
And that's some task. Todd Christensen is an outstanding route runner. You know, I think Todd's experience as a running back has helped him so much at the tight end position. You know, he makes catches out there like wide receivers do. Lots of maneuverability, good hands. But as you mentioned, Kennedy's doing a good job so far.
Christensen says, I don't look like a guy that's got any speed, but I got some funk in me. Here's Chris Bahr. He's hit 9 of his last 10 field goals, including the game winner against Denver last Sunday at the Coliseum. 41-yarder. He's not a long-range kicker, but he's awfully good in close like this. It's on the way. And it's good. So Bahr, with 10 of his last 11, extends the Raider lead to 10-3. The Bills' fumble of a punt proved to be costly. He's ready to kick it off. Raiders lead the game 10-3. Van Williams and Rob Riddick are back for the Bills. We're glad that it's only off to the side and not in the air here in Buffalo. 60 degrees, unseasonably warm. A squibber downfield on the 4th hop. Van Williams starts upfield and comes to the 28-yard line. So the young quarterback, Matt Kofler, is going to have 1:06 left to work down the field if he can with the wind at his back. Joe Ferguson, the Bills starter, went out. That's a gamer, though, to do that. You're a real gamer. Mike Haynes is in the game, the newly acquired all-pro defensive back. They go to the run, and Joe Cribb starts upfield, trying to catch the Raiders looking straight pass, and the clock winds down to 58 seconds to play in the first half. NFL 83 coming up at halftime. The Bills now with 2nd down coming up. They have 3 timeouts coming, but has so far not called one. Matt Kofler in the game at quarterback. Throwing from the shotgun. Downfield, he hits Julius Dawkins, and he's out of bounds at the 50 with 27 seconds left. Mike, the free safety, is another hitter, 26, Van McElroy. 1st and 10, Buffalo at midfield. You saw the good arm of Matt Kofler on display there. Here's the big rush. Stands in, rips it. Almost picked off by the aforementioned Mike Davis. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Buffalo from the 50 with 23 seconds to play in the first half. The Raiders lead the game 10-3.
All of the defensive systems, and he's in there playing along with Lester Hayes. That will have to be the best tandem of defensive cornerbacks in all of football.
His pursuers, Seattle and Denver, tied for 2nd. Kofler with 22 seconds left, lofts one downfield. Julius Dawkins is there. It's intercepted by Davis. Superb play by Mike Davis, and Kofler heard the roar from flat on his back. Looked like a perfect strike as Dawkins was wide open, and Davis recovered to make a great play.
Well, Mike Davis set him up.
He was KO'd in the first half. We'll see if he returns in the second half. He's gone to the locker room. Now the Raiders leading 10-3. They'll look to run the ball, and the clock down to 14 seconds left. Kenny King gets some yards across the 40-yard line. That might be it in the first half. Face the Detroit Lions. That's coming up Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, the start of NBC Sports Week 83. It's a home run ball to Cliff Branch, and it's a little bit long. Allowed out. 2 seconds left to go, and the Raiders have time for one more play.
Well, if there was any question as to whether Mr. Plunkett could get it down there, I think that pass erased all of those doubts.
Final play of the first half coming up. 2 seconds to play. The Raiders in the lead 10-3. Out to Marcus Allen. Eludes one tackler. Gets out of bounds, and the first half ends. So the Raiders, coming in as a favorite, hold to a halftime lead. The big Raider domination in the numbers. 102 total yards to 16 for Buffalo. Plunkett on 1st and 10 all day long. Goes down to the sideline, and Malcolm Barnwell catches the ball inside the 10. He'll be very close to another Raider first down.
That was an outstanding catch by Malcolm Barnwell. Plunkett wanted to throw the ball to Cliff Branch, who was coming from the left side of the field all the way over. You can see him watching Branch in the middle. He's not open. And Barnwell does a good job of positioning himself between the ball and the defensive back. And it's like in basketball, when you're going to get a rebound, get yourself in between the other guy and the ball. Very important that he caught the ball in his chest, so as soon as he was hit, he didn't turn it loose.
Malcolm Barnwell's from Virginia Union in his 3rd year. Very fast. And now the Raiders go to the run, and Marcus Allen hits toward the end zone and gets inside the 5-yard line and down to the 3. Chris Keating makes the tackle, but the Raiders challenging again with a 7-0 lead. They have another first down now. Are they going to be close enough to measure? The LA offense versus the Buffalo defense. You see an overmatch, but I think Kay Stevenson probably said it best, Gene. He said, they talk about our rushing defense and our passing defense. We're not worried about statistics. We're 7-4.
And tied for first place. You know, Buffalo has that kind of a defense that bends, but they don't break very often.
Last week, the Bills were down 14-0 to the Jets at Shea Stadium in New York, a team that had beaten the Bills 31-10 earlier. Buffalo came back to win free football. And Marcus Allen was not across the plane of the goal line before he coughed it up for a second time. But this time, it is the Bills who recover, and the Raider drive is stopped. Steve Freeman, number 22, the free safety. So the Raiders are down close, looking to take command, but a lost ball in the end zone, and the Bills stop the drive. Buffalo, 1st and 10 from their 20. Second quarter, Raiders lead at 7-0. Ferguson wants to get a lot early, fires downfield, and it's a little too wide. Going for the ball was Julius Dawkins, who was an All-American as a junior at Pittsburgh and didn't go to the 12th round when he came out. The Bills think he has the potential to be a tremendous player.
You know, one of the reasons he was drafted so low is that in his senior year he had an injury in his foot, and when he came into the Bills training camp, they noticed that something was wrong. He wasn't running properly, and he didn't want to tell them, but he had a bone chip in his foot. They took it out. Now he's really starting to come on. He's a big guy, over 6 feet, about 195 pounds.
Second down and 10 for Buffalo. To the run, straight ahead. There's not much there against the Raiders. Van Williams carries the ball. The real knock on Julius Dawkins, to be perfectly honest, was that he had a bad attitude and was a big part of the Pittsburgh collapse and their pick to be national champions. He came in here, though, and they haven't seen any bad attitude, just a good football player. Mike Mosley on the left, and Phil Villapiano, 2 injured Bills. Villapiano, a former then Oakland Raider. They both went down with knee injuries, although Mosley, a good young wide receiver from Texas A&M, could be back. The Bills go to the playoffs. It is now 3rd down and a long 5 for Buffalo. Ferguson stands in. They give him some time. He's got a man, and he's going to get knocked down way short of the first down as Joe Cribbs came out of the backfield. Raider defense playing as well as the offense. Buffalo unable to generate any consistency. And so the Bills will have to punt it back to the Raiders again. This time Cater will be working with the wind at his back.
It's tough to beat that nickel defense that the Raiders go into when they get you in an obvious passing situation. They take out a linebacker and they'll bring in a safety like Otis McKinney. Joe Cribbs can be very effective against linebackers, but he's got a much tougher time trying to operate against a skilled defensive back.
Greg Pruitt is back as a single receiver to return the punt for the Raiders. Cater standing at his 11-yard line. Markers down at the line of scrimmage. And here comes Pruitt. Set the picket line right. Pruitt uses it and gets to the 38-yard line. But there were penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. So the clock is stopped with 11 minutes and 45 seconds to go first half.
54 on the kicking team. Penalty decline. First down.
Eugene Marv was in motion early, but the Raiders like the field position they got in the play, so they'll take the kick and they'll go on offense when we come back. Seconds to play in the first half. The Raiders have the ball at the 43-yard line, their own. They lead the game 7-0, and Jim Plunkett's at the controls. Takes the swing to Allen, goes the other way, and gets it to Kenny King. And Eugene Marv makes a big defensive play for the Bills. Wide open track. Had Kenny King been able to beat Eugene Marv?
You know, Don, Todd Christensen came into today's game the number 2 receiver in the league with 59 catches. Watch him on this play. It's an option play. It's a screen. Look at it. He's wide open. He's looking for the football, but Plunkett has the option. He's the screen first. If the screen's not there, then he can throw down the middle to his tight end.
It is 2nd down and 9 where they have the ball spotted. 38-yard line of the Raiders. Plunk takes a look, finds Marcus Allen, and he's out to the 44-5-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. Ken Johnson, 91, made the knockdown. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited.
You know, Don, Marcus, 2 fumbles in this game, but you know what's characteristic of a player like Marcus is that he'll forget about that and he'll come back and make a big play, and so will everyone else.
That's the history of the Raiders. Right now they have a 3rd down and about 3. Long ball. Malcolm Barnwell covered very well by Mario Clark. So the Bills defense holds and gets a standing salute from a good part of the 70,000 fans here in Buffalo. Raiders moved up and down the field their first 2 possessions. First time they went 62 yards to a touchdown. Next time they were right down on the goal line. But Marcus Allen fumbled into the end zone, so the drive was stopped. Now Ray Guy is in to punt for the first time. And he'll be kicking into a wind that's getting stronger. The wind in late November starts to sweep on in from Canada. Rob Riddick back to return the punt for Buffalo.
Ray Guy is finally free of those back problems that bothered him for the last couple of seasons. Punting very well now.
End over end punt. It'll be returned. Riddick from the 20. Looks for blockers. Loses one man. There's a great special teams play by the Raiders. And Barnes comes down and makes the play. 56, Jeff Barnes. And so the Bills go on offense, but the Raiders have the lead 7-0. Previously in this half have ended after 3 downs with a punt. Not very much offense as the Raiders lead the game 7-0 in the 2nd quarter. 1st and 10 for the Bills from their 20. Ferguson with a strike. Out to the 27-yard line, a gain of 7. Joe Cribbs caught the ball, and Bob Nelson, an inside linebacker and a former Buffalo Bill, made the stop for the Raiders.
Well, it appears as though the Bills are not going to be successful running the ball, at least at this point against the Raiders. So what they're going to do is put it in the air. And Joe Cribbs, you can see what he did. He protected the ball. As soon as he caught the ball, saw the defender coming, Bob Nelson, number 51. He protected it and put it away. There's a Raider defense, the 3rd overall total defense, 5th against the rush, 7th against the pass.
And now the Bills with a 2nd down and 2 play coming up. They try the run. Roosevelt leaks. A big back from Texas gets ahead, and the Bills have their first down of the day. Buffalo moving the ball out to the 32-yard line. Nine minutes to play in the first half. The Raiders went 62 yards on 11 plays the first time they had the ball after the Bills punted to them. And now some more scores coming in. Miami with the 7-0 lead over Baltimore. Andre Franklin with a touchdown run. St. Louis on an O'Donohue field goal has extended its lead over San Diego 10-0. The Chargers and the Raiders play twice more. Green Bay is the leader 7-3 over Detroit. Raiders 4 games remaining after this one, all against teams under 500. On 1st and 10, there's nothing there for Roosevelt leaks. And penalty markers are down at the line of scrimmage. Howie Long, number 75.